And Nana Akir.
Good morning to you. Now, the ECHR Afghan support lawyers plan to use the ECHR rights laws to force the government to bring tens of thousands more Afghans to Britain to protect them from the Taliban.
Small boat surge incoming. The Prime Minister celebrates a new pact with Germany to stop illegal migration, but as Dover is covered by thick fog this morning, the small boats, unfortunately, are flooding in. Mark White is there.
Well, it's very likely that there will be a few Afghans on the small boats that are crossing the channel today because they are the top nation represented on those small boats crossing the channel. Hundreds more small boat migrants in the channel this morning heading for the UK.
A school trip tragedy. One child dies as a bus crashes and overturns in Minehead after taking 60 children to the zoo. Rachel Gilmore is the local MP.
All the parents, all the staff, all the grandparents, all the families from Minehead today, if I could reach out and give you all a cuddle, I would. This is not about politics. This is about compassion.
Clearly, there must be a difference between racism, which is about colour, and other types of racism.
Whoopsie. The longest-serving female MP, Diane Abbott, is suspended from the Labour Party again after doubling down on her claim that Jews experience racism differently to black people.
The Labour leadership wants me out, so says Diane Abbott. Could she now be tempted to join a new party with her old friend, Jeremy Corbyn?
Overnight disorder erupts at an organised demonstration as protesters clash with police outside an Essex hotel housing migrants.
And the Lionesses are through to the Euros semi-final after beating Sweden 3-2 on penalties last night. Well done, ladies.
Yeah. Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
Oh dear, busted at a Coldplay concert. The concert turned pretty awkward as a mortified couple are called out for cheating by Chris Martin. Oh, crikey! What's the case called?
Oh, what a story.
Not watching.
I love that. I love it. They would have got away with it, right, if they had just pretended everything was OK. It went viral because of the reaction.
Well, yeah, but yes, but no, because then it could have gone... Somebody could have potentially seen him anyway. But I do agree, had they been a bit cooler about it and
so
smiled...
that guy apparently runs a massive company. So he's the CEO, she's the head of HR or something like that. He's worth $1.5 billion. People all over the internet were flooding the wife's Facebook page, the husband's Facebook page. They woke up the following morning to this massive furore, millions of views on that video. You've got to feel really sorry for the husband and wife who have been... had the dirty done.
I agree. I feel sorry for them. But and listen, if you're listening on radio, that is something that's gone viral. It's if you have a look on Facebook or all social media, it's a couple who are snogging at a gig. They're caught on camera. The camera holds on them, and then they overreact, or I don't know whether it's over or underreact. The guy dips down really low. The girl turns her head and then turns her back, and then of course Chris Martin calls it out. And if you haven't seen it, we've got it. I'm sure we're putting it on our website. Yeah. You can check it out, GBNews.com.
Right, let's get a quick 60-second news update with Katie Bowen.
Good morning. The headlines at 9:34. Sir Keir Starmer said that there are no adequate words to acknowledge the death of a child after the fatal school coach crash in Minehead. A child died and 21 others have been taken to hospital following the collision between Wedden Cross and Timbercombe yesterday afternoon. Diane Abbott says the Labour leadership wants me out and that her comments in a BBC interview released this week were factually correct after she was suspended from the Labour Party for a second time. More than 23,000 small boat migrants have crossed the Channel this year, as hundreds more make the crossing this morning. The number who've crossed so far this year is up more than 55% on the same period last year. The number of the most serious water pollution incidents rose by 60% last year, according to the Environment Agency. The data, which covers England, found that 3 companies, Thames Water, Southern Water and Yorkshire Water, are responsible for more than 80% of the incidents. And the first ever official UK coin to honour the Princess Royal has been unveiled ahead of her 75th birthday in August. Those are the latest headlines for now. More news at the top of the hour.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Thank you, Katie, and very good morning to you at home. This is Britain's Newsroom, live across the UK with Ben Leo and Nana Akweer.
Yes, so she's at it again. Diane Abbott, her hierarchy of racism. She has become the 5th Labour MP to be suspended by Sir Keir Starmer this week.
A Labour Party spokesman said Abbott had been suspended pending an investigation, and it's because in an interview with the BBC, she doubled down on her claim that Jews experience racism differently to black people. Take a listen.
You appear to suggest, in the view of some of your critics anyway, that the kind of anti-Semitism that the Jewish community suffered, or travellers suffered, or Irish people suffered, was somehow different from the racism that you as a young black person had suffered. You were suspended and there was a great hoo-ha. Do you look back on that with regret?
No, not at all. Clearly, there must be a difference between racism, which is about colour, and other types of racism.
So, Nana, what do you make of that? Has she got a point? Do you disagree? What's your take?
People might experience racism differently, but racism is racism. And to me, it's not the fact that she kind of pointed that obvious thing out, but to me, it's the fact that she doubled down and said that she doesn't regret her comments from previously, which were saying that Jewish people experience racism. It's a bit like being ginger or something like that. I could probably ask Catherine about that. But no, but she just kind of trivialised the racism that Jewish people feel. And then the worst bit for me was the fact that she said she doesn't regret it. And the bottom line is, has she forgotten about the Holocaust? Has she forgotten about what's happened since October the 7th? As a black female, which I don't really look at myself and see myself as a colour, I'll be honest with you, I don't really notice it myself. Because obviously I see out of my own eyes. So I don't go, oh, you're black, you're black, you're black, oh, you're gonna, oh, you're black. It's other people who might see that. But anyway, I have never experienced racism to the level that I'm seeing Jewish people experience it, if I'm totally honest. I've never been there. I've never had that. So to me, this is... I am absolutely horrified. So for her to even think that there's some sort of hierarchy of racism, that one is a little bit worse than I am because I'm black, I feel it worse, or because you can see that I'm black, it's... I'm just not buying it. Racism is racism, and it should be stamped out wherever it is, and she shouldn't trivialise any type of racism or differentiate, I think.
I also don't know why she apologised initially and then double down. Like, why apologise if you believe what you say? If you just own it. If you believe that, just say it and take the consequences. Is it because, well, we'll discuss this with Catherine in a second, is it because she is looking for an off-ramp to Jeremy Corbyn's new party with Dara Sultana? Possibly. Very briefly, before we go to Catherine, another Labour MP who I argue needs the whip removing is the local MP down where I live on the south coast for East Worthing and Shoreham, Tom Rutland, for this video.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday.
And right now, Labour's introducing votes at 16. That's 4 votes for a family with 2 sixth formers.
I know he's trying to have fun, but come on, it's so low grade. It's so juvenile.
What is he? I just didn't really get what's his message.
He's just messing around with a funny, meant to be a funny video on the votes for 16-year-olds. It's just, I think it's pathetic.
I think that if you are changing the democratic process, you have to have a referendum, because you're changing the way the process will work for us as a nation, and we need to decide whether we want 16, 17-year-olds to vote. I don't think you should just be able to just do that, because it could be seen as rigging the election in your favour, although I don't think Keir Starmer's read the mood music, because if he did, you'd probably think that would be unwise.
I think it will backfire. Let's speak to our political correspondent, Catherine Forster, who's been waiting patiently whilst we ramble on. Catherine, good morning. Is this Diane Abbott situation, do you reckon, an off-ramp for her to join Corbyn's new party?
Well, we will see. We know that Diane Abbott and Jeremy Corbyn have a long history, very, very close. We know that he's thinking of a new party. We know that Zara Sultana, one of the MPs that The Prime Minister took the whip off a year ago, has said that she's going to be in it, so we will see. But I think that the government really felt that they had got no choice but to suspend Diane Abbott again, because, as you said, Nana, she totally doubled down on those comments that she made back in 2023 in that piece in The Observer, where she said that travellers and Irish people, Jewish people, experience prejudice but not racism in the same way as black people. So she basically said, if you're red-headed, she mentioned people with red hair, like me, that, you know, that was or Jewish. She equated that with being Jewish, and that was a whole different ball game, apparently, to being black. And at the time, she apologised. She lost the whip for a year. She got it back in the nick of time to stand again and get re-elected in the general election. There was a feeling that what the government would have liked, or what the Prime Minister, he wasn't Prime Minister then, what Labour would have liked to have happened was that she would have gone off to the House of Lords, where she would have been sort of easier to manage. That didn't happen. But now she's given this interview to the BBC, recorded last month. She's asked if she regretted that incident. She says, no, not at all. And she said, you know, we heard a little bit of it, must be a difference between racism, which is about colour, and other types of racism, because you can see a traveller or a Jewish person walking down the street. You don't know, basically, that they are a traveller or that they are Jewish, whereas if you see a black person walking down the street, you know that they're a black person. And now she has said, this Labour leadership wants me out, and she has said of her comments that they are factually correct, as she said, as any fair-minded person would accept.
So why did she apologise before then?
Yeah.
Well, I think she obviously felt pressured into apologising, because we see now clearly that she's not really sorry, is she? Because she's doubled down.
Well, listen, Catherine, stay right there. But let's get the reaction now from Naomi Wimborne Idrissi, a spokesperson for the Jewish Voice for Labour. Right, so what do you make of Diane Abbott's comments? Are you offended by them, or do you agree with them that there are different layers and levels of racism?
I'm deeply offended by the fact that this so-called Labour government is trying to force a leading black politician out of the party and out of politics. I'm one of those Jewish people who was expelled from the Labour Party because I disagree with the way they handle the anti-Semitism issue. So let's forget any thought of Diane Abbott being anti-Semitic. You ought to get onto your show a wonderful local Rabbi Herschel Gluck, who's been close to Diane for years and years and represents a large component of the Jewish community in her area in Hackney, and he's an ally of hers, and the question of her being anti-Semitic is rubbish. Keir Starmer wants her out. He's been trying to drive all of the left out, and he's using any excuse. So let's respect Diane for her views. People may disagree with them. Sometimes she may not express herself very elegantly. But if there is a hierarchy of racism, it's the Labour Party elite that is executing that, and they prioritise a certain form of anti-Semitism, i.e.
Well, hold on a minute.
You don't like Israel, therefore you're anti-Semitic, like me. I'm Jewish. I don't like what Israel does to the Palestinian people. Therefore, they call me an anti-Semite and throw me out. They've got a hierarchy.
Okay, so wait a minute. So wait a minute. The problem for Diane Abbott, she compared being Jewish to having say, ginger hair, the kind of prejudice that somebody with ginger hair would experience. That's kind of not really true, is it? I mean, there was a Holocaust where Jewish people were killed, murdered, executed by the Nazis. And even now, in October, after the aftermath of October the 7th, we're seeing awful racism, which I have to admit, as a black female, I have never seen towards myself being perpetrated towards people who are Jewish. Are you saying that what Diane Abbott said, by saying this, she's not being racist, and it's OK for her to say that? Bear in mind that she did apologise after she'd written it down in a letter to The Observer, and is now double downing and double backing on it.
OK, what she apologised for was that sort of rather clumsy comparison with red-haired people, which she agreed at the time was inappropriate. That's not what she's saying now.
No. She's done this. No. Now she said that she's not. No. She said in her own words that she is not sorry about what she said. So she is
not
literally
sorry about what she said about racism towards black people, Jewish people, traveller people, being different in form. And you yourself admitted that, of course, there are differences. You were quite right to say
No,
that.
I said people can experience racism differently, but racism is racism.
Yes, that's true. That's true, and that's what Diane believes, and the way she operates in her whole life, and always has. And there's no question that raising questions about forms that racism take, discussing it intelligently, means that you deny the Holocaust or any such thing. Of course not, and it's absurd that people say these things. So let's just focus on what this Labour government is trying to do. It's trying to destroy dissent within its own party, and actually it's trying to destroy dissent in society as well. And I think your listeners and viewers should be very worried that we've got a government that can't deal with the things that matter to us all, the health service, you know, the state of the education system, public services generally, can't jobs. It can't help with those things. Transport, sewage and the water, can't cope with those things, but it can pick on a long-standing, well-respected black member of parliament, chuck her out or threaten to suspend her at least from the party. She probably will leave because it can't tolerate any form of dissent. It's as simple as that, honestly.
Yeah, it's we said yesterday on this show, actually, Naomi, that the 4 MPs who had been suspended previously for dissent, I guess we agreed yesterday in discussion that it shines a light on Keir Starmer's authoritarian nature. I don't agree with the politics of those people, and indeed Jeremy Corbyn. I'll never, you know, I'm not a communist, but I respect him at least for having the same view and sticking by it for the past 20-odd years. So at least you know what he's about. And I guess the argument with Keir Starmer is you don't know what he's about. One minute he's talking about an island of strangers, the next he's backtracking on it. You know, you don't know what he's about. So, yeah, at least you've got some consistency with the likes of Corbyn. Yeah.
I would go with that completely. And Diane Abbott too. Cheers.
OK. Yeah. Naomi, thank you for your company this morning. Really appreciate it. And hopefully we speak again soon.
Hope so.
I listened to this and it's almost as though, oh, Diane Abbott's been pushed out. No, no, no. She was suspended for making some ridiculous comments and then she's repeated them. So that's not anybody doing anything to her.
She quite clearly wants to go and join
She wants to join Jeremy, that's it. That's where she wants to go.
On the backbenches next to Rupert Lowe and whoever else is there, James McMurdoch. Nice little collection of them forming at the back of the Commons, isn't it? Yeah. Right, up next, we're off to Dover, where people smuggling gangs have taken advantage of thick fog in the English Channel, as more than 100 small boats are apparently making the trip. You're with Britain's Newsroom on GB News.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Lots of blue skies and strong hot sunshine around the Mediterranean at the moment. There's going to be a bit of a breeze blowing, however, this weekend, especially for Crete and Cyprus. Maybe 1 or 2 showers inland across Turkey, but again, most of the coast's dry and sunny. Same goes for Italy and much of southern Spain, along with the Balearics and the Canaries. Also set fair. Temperatures in Tenerife close to 30 Celsius. We'll have highs here of 29 for the next few days and similar temperatures in Barcelona.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Vegetarians and others have a greater desire to wield power more than their meat-eating counterparts. I mean, you like a sausage, don't you, Biggins?
I like a sausage, but I have gone off meat per se, funnily enough, as I'm getting older. I think there are, you know, it takes a lot of eating a piece of meat, if you pardon the expression.
And the older you get, the more you find that it takes a lot of eating.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I must admit, I have more of a conscience about eating meat as I get older.
Yeah.
And that's a fondness of animals brings that. And if you ever go on Instagram and you look at cows and horses and pigs,
they're wonderful
they're all affectionate and incredible.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
And there we are, putting it into our mouths and eating it.
What do you think about the move to enforce vegetarianism on people, though? Because especially in schools and some universities, there's this trend for meat-free Monday, where there's this enforced absence of meat on children.
I think it's ridiculous. Let kids do what they want, to be honest with. Within reason, obviously, a healthy diet, But no, I think, you know, I don't eat meat. The husband eats meat. It's not an issue. Eat what you want. But I think that the fact that they're trying to force this into schools, look, let kids experiment, give them a vegetarian option.
Yes,
let them
and all
see
schools do that.
Just options.
It has just become political, and also there's a lot of misinformation out there. So I know children are often told that eating meat is terrible for the environment, but importing avocados thousands of miles is also terrible for the environment.
But also, I mean, a lot of vegetarian meals are certainly processed vegetarian meals have got a load of salt and fat and sugar in them, so they're actually worse for you than eating a lean piece of meat.
I think the tide is turning now, because the new trend amongst young people, particularly young men, is protein. Chicken, breasts, tuna. That's the new trend, to get as much protein in them as possible. It's very difficult to do when you're vegetarian.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. Oh, no, you didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back, 9:51 on Britain's Newsroom with Ben Leo and Nana Akweer.
So, our people smuggling gangs have taken advantage of thick fog in the English Channel this morning to launch multiple small boats towards UK waters.
Hundreds of small boat migrants are currently in the Channel right now, heading towards the UK.
Our Home and Security Editor Mark White joins us now in Dover. Mark, incredible footage yesterday of those boat migrants arriving. What more can you tell us?
Well, those same sort of scenes playing out again this morning in the English Channel, and yesterday, you're right. I mean, those were incredible shots on the beach at Gravelines, just near Dunkirk, with migrants waiting on the beach initially for what they describe as taxi boats that come from the river tributaries nearby down, and then they come right close into the shore to pick up the migrants who scramble into the water to get on board. Now, the thing about those images that I think were so damaging really for the French and the UK government that have been telling us that the French are getting more robust with their tactics is that it was clear the French were not getting more robust with their tactics. Those migrants were in and about that beach for some considerable time before that taxi boat arrived. There was no police in evidence there at all. And then the rigid inflatable boat that came alongside the migrant boat didn't, as we're told it will apparently be doing at some point, push the small boat back to shore, even though it was in very shallow water. Instead, they threw life jackets to the migrants on board that boat. We had other shots yesterday as well that showed the lifeboat crews in France giving water, bottled water, to the migrants on the route as well. And today we've got, again, multiple small boats taking advantage of the foggy conditions on this side of the channel and the other side of the channel to launch those boats. And those extra launches today have now taken the figure for the number of small boat migrants who have crossed to the UK illegally so far this year to 23,000.
Wow, wow. Mark White, thank you very much. We'll keep us updated throughout the programme. Right, still to come, is there any hope we'll become a smoke-free nation by 2030? As new figures show, Brits smoke 29 billion cigarettes a year.
Have you ever smoked?
I did many years ago. I thought it was really cool until someone told me that my lips would look like an anus if I carried on, like a backside, you know, with the... So I just thought, you know what, sorry, apologies to anybody. It's not meant to be rude, but that's what happened. I gave up.
On that bombshell, back in just a tick. Here's your weather.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house.
Boxed boilers. Sponsors of weather on GB News.
Morning. Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Again today, quite a mix of weather. Hot with hazy sunshine across East Anglia and the southeast. Elsewhere, yes, some sunshine, but also some heavy downpours. A drab start for southwest Scotland, parts of West Wales with some rain and drizzle here. And then we'll see showers developing as we go through the morning. Some heavy ones this afternoon over Northern Ireland, perhaps western Scotland and also northeast England. And here we do have a Met Office thunderstorm warning in place. East Anglia in the southeast, only the small chance of catching a downpour. Generally, it's sunny here and hot, highs of 30 Celsius. Not as hot elsewhere, still for many feeling quite humid. The southeast, as I say, has the chance of catching an afternoon downpour, but mostly set fair here, as it is across the southwest. Could just be fairly cloudy here. Some sunshine developing across Wales. It's northeast England where we've got the greatest risk of thunderstorms that could cause some disruption with large hail and hefty downpours of rain. Same goes for Northern Ireland. No warning here at the moment, but still some potentially very heavy showers coming through and a scattering of showers likely across Scotland through the day with maybe some along those easternmost coasts. The heavy showers over northeast England should fade, but then we look down to the south. We're importing further hefty downpours coming across the channel, further thundery showers likely to develop through the early hours across the southeast as temperatures hold up maybe as high as 20 Celsius. A more comfortable night for sleeping further north and west, but still very humid air across these eastern counties, generating further thunderstorms on Saturday. Should be tracking northwards into parts of northern England, across the Midlands as well. The storms tomorrow could generate large hailstones, gusty wind, as well as the potential for flooding. Maybe getting into southern Scotland, parts of North Wales at times. Further west, many places will be dry. Temperatures not as high tomorrow. Still quite humid, though, with temperatures in the low 20s.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed home battery storage. Sponsors of weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M74 southbound at Junction 3 on-slip is closed due to planned maintenance. Please follow the sign diversion as longer journey times are anticipated. There is congestion in both directions at Junction 24 Coldra on the M4. Doncaster's M18 southbound has a broken down vehicle on the exit slip at Junction 2, closing one lane. In Warwickshire, an accident on the M40 northbound between junctions 15 and 16 involves a vehicle leaving the carriageway, closing one lane. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast and Northern are experiencing major disruptions around Warrington Bank Quay. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Imagine having an extra £1,000 to spend each week for an entire year. £54,321 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to spend however you like. £54,321 in cash could be landing in your bank account this year. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date. Or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. It is 11 o'clock. Is it 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. It is Friday the 18th of July, a day before my birthday. We're live across the United Kingdom. This is Britain's Newsroom with Ben Leo and me, Nana Aquia.
Good morning. Hope you're well. ECHR Afghan support. Lawyers plan to use human rights laws to force the government to bring tens of thousands more Afghans to Britain to protect them from the Taliban.
Up to 100,000 Afghans could come here under the Human Rights Act, which some Tories and Reform MPs want us to leave. What will happen next?
Small boat surge incoming. The Prime Minister celebrates a new pact with Germany to stop illegal migration. But as Dover is covered by thick fog this morning, the small boats are flooding in. Mark White is there.
Well, we can say with confidence that at least some of the migrants on board the small boats that are crossing this morning will be from Afghanistan, because this is the top nation represented on these small boats.
School trip tragedy. One child dies as a bus crashes and overturns in Minehead after taking 60 children to the zoo.
Clearly, there must be a difference between racism, which is about colour, and other types of racism.
The longest-serving female MP, Diane Abbott, is suspended again from the Labour Party after doubling down on her claim that Jews experience racism differently to black people.
And the Lionesses are through to the Euros semi-final after beating Sweden 3-2 last night on penalties.
Yeah. Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
Yes, a busted couple at Coldplay as a concert turns awkward as a mortified couple are called out for cheating by Chris Martin himself.
Oh, goodness me.
Sorry. Oh, crikey, you go. Nobody saw that, did they? Yes, you see what I mean. Listen, that was a Coldplay concert. A couple got busted. Make sure you have a look. GBNews.com. We'll pop it online. But let's get your thoughts and comments. GBNews.com/your say. But first, our latest news with Katie Bowen.
Nana, thank you. The headlines at 3 minutes past 10. Sir Keir Starmer said that there are no adequate words to acknowledge the death of a child after the fatal school coach crash in Minehead. A child died and 21 others have been taken to hospital following the collision between Weddon Cross and Timbercombe yesterday afternoon. The bus slid down a 20-foot bank as it left the A396 at Cutcombe Hill. Several had serious injuries, including 2 children, and it's understood there were 60 to 70 people on board at the time. The bus was bringing children back from a day trip to Exmoor Zoo, the coach operator said. Chief Superintendent Mark Edgington said it's been an incredibly challenging scene for all emergency services, calling the events truly tragic. The road remained shut overnight. Diane Abbott says the Labour leadership wants me out and that her comments in a BBC interview released this week were factually correct after she was suspended from the Labour Party for a second time. A Labour Party spokesman said Ms Abbott had been suspended pending an investigation after she doubled down on comments about racism for which she had previously apologised. She's the 5th Labour MP to be suspended by Sir Keir Starmer this week. Ms Abbott was suspended by Labour in 2023 after writing a letter to The Observer comparing racism experienced by people of colour with that seen by other groups. She apologised and was readmitted to the party before the 2024 general election. Rachel Maskell, Brian Leishman, Chris Hinchcliffe and Neil Duncan Jordan also all lost the whip this week. They now sit as independents in the Commons. There are serious constitutional issues raised by the Afghan data leak, the chairman of the Intelligence and Security Committee has said this morning. Lord Beamish's comments come as it was revealed the personal details of spies and special forces were included in a data leak that led to thousands of Afghans being secretly relocated to the UK. He added that data divulged as part of the Afghan leak could be used by states who want to do us harm. Information about more than 100 Britons was contained in the breach, as defence sources say details of MI6 spies, SAS and Special Forces personnel were also included in the spreadsheet. More than 23,000 small boat migrants have crossed the Channel this year, as hundreds more make the crossing this morning. People smuggling gangs have taken advantage of thick fog in the English Channel today to launch multiple small boats towards UK waters. GB News can reveal that the total number of migrants who have crossed the Channel so far this year has now passed 23,000, with more than 320 migrants making the crossing yesterday and hundreds currently making the crossing right now. The number who have crossed so far this year is more than 55% up on the same period last year. Exchequer Secretary to the Treasury, James Murray, spoke to GB News.
We've been working with Germany. As you know, we've also been working with France about making sure we're working with international allies to take action to stop this people smuggling happening across the Channel, because there isn't a silver bullet for this. This is a big issue that we need to tackle, and so we're trying every possible avenue to try and make sure we stop the gangs exploiting people by putting them in the boats across the Channel, because we know how important this is.
And the number of the most serious water pollution incidents rose by 60% last year. That's according to the Environment Agency. The data, which covers England, found that 3 companies, Thames Water, Southern Water and Yorkshire Water, are responsible for more than 80% of the incidents. The Environment Agency said it found consistently poor performance across all 9 water and wastewater firms in the country. The report comes as MPs called for a complete overhaul of the system regulating water companies earlier this week. Minister for Water and Flooding, Emma Hardy, reacted to the news.
It's a complete disgrace what's happened, and people have every right to be furious about it. I'm furious about what's happened, and we've seen it particularly from 3 of the water companies. And it is clear that regulation isn't working effectively, but we've put in those building blocks to try and change things. When we came into government, we introduced the Water Special Measures Act, which has banned unfair bonuses. So some of those polluting water buses have not been getting bonuses this time because of the levels of pollution that we've seen. But we've also managed to get £104 billion of investment into the sector, because fundamentally, if we want to stop pollution, we need to invest in improving the infrastructure, which has been left to just fall apart over the last 14 years.
Those are your latest GB News headlines. More from me in half an hour.
Hello, good morning. It's 10:07. Ben and Nana with you on Britain's Newsroom on GB News. Thank you for your company. Hope you're well. You've had a good week. And thank you for your emails as well.
Lots of them coming through. We have one here saying, I won't mention the Shaky Stevens one for Chopper. I'll leave that for later. Actually, I'll do it now because it's a safe one. She says, Katie says, good grief. Chopper looks like Shaky Stevens with that barnet. Get to the barbers now.
What do you reckon?
I think you're very lucky to have hair. I haven't got hair myself.
Leave him alone. He's all right. He's a good boy. Richard, you've said, great, a sensible Jewish lady who knows more about the subject than the presenters. Perhaps you need to interview the rabbi the lady mentioned. Instead, after listening in silent disbelief at what she said, Nana, once she was off air, you repeat your own beliefs, but you did not do it while she spoke.
What are you talking about? I don't even know what you're saying. I think that I know what it's like to experience racism, so I don't know whether she knows more about it than me. I don't know. And you don't know how much she knows anyway, so that doesn't make any sense. All I know is that Diane Abbott repeated something that she allegedly apologised for previously, and now which got her suspended, and she's doubled down on it again. And let's not forget the anti-Semitism within the Labour Party. Let's not forget that. So I'm not impressed by Diane Abbott's words, and I don't think she knows more or less about racism than me. I just don't know what somebody else knows, and neither do you.
Yeah, and also this person, Richard, you've said you did not give her your views whilst she was on air.
I did.
After she got, I mean, Nana.
No.
I let Nana deal with it as a black woman. I think you're best placed to debate with her.
I
You did.
I did give her. You
Anyway.
need to rewind that and go and have a listen and see. But no, I've told her what I think. Just because you agree with her, I just don't agree with her. I think she's wrong.
Barry, you've said, I personally don't think that people of colour are divided in this country. In my experience, most people get along really well. I don't get the lefty view of that we're all racist and divisive. I think that's true. I also think it's true that there's more good in the world than bad. I think it's true that most people get along, and all the, the negative stuff that is talked about sometimes is actually just, there is a lot of it, but it's a minority.
And I also think that some people don't necessarily see colour, so I don't look around and say, oh, that's a white person, that's an Asian person. I don't really see that. I would have to be totally honest with you. I'm being forced to see it more because people want me to see it, but I think sometimes other people's perspective of what racism is obviously from their own understanding of it.
Can I ask you something? I've said that to somebody before, a friend of the channel, a black guy, and I've said, Martin Luther King, of course, said, judge me on the content of my character, not the colour of my skin. And I said to him, I don't see colour in people. I don't look at someone and say, oh, you're black or you're white, whatever. He said, no, that is kind of racist, saying you don't see colour because you're not seeing me. You're not seeing my black history.
No, that means that he wants to be seen as a black person of colour and wants all the things that are attached with it, and therefore you're actually asking people to see your colour and then make judgments about you because of your colour. I think that's wrong. I think you should just take people as they are. Just because I'm black, I was born in Newcastle. I went to Africa and I was annoyed that there was no ketchup, the bread was wrong, the butter tasted
wrong. You get Parmos in Newcastle? Or was that a borough thing?
Well, I think it might be a borough thing. But frankly, I went there, so if me and a white person were hanging out together, someone might ask me where I'm from, not understanding that just because I'm black doesn't mean I'm not from the UK, but that's their perception of colour, whereas I don't see it that way. So, anyway, everyone's different.
Thank you. Thank you for your emails. Keep them coming in. We'll endeavour to get through them as the show goes on. But moving on to the next story, the Prime Minister has said there are no adequate words to acknowledge the death of a child after that bus crash in Minehead killed one. 21 others were transported to hospital yesterday.
The bus was bringing children back from a day trip to the zoo when the collision occurred.
Conservative councillor for Minehead, Andy Hadley, joins us now. Andy, good morning. Sorry you're joining us under these circumstances. A shocking story. I understand that the children were coming back from an end-of-term trip from the zoo. There were 60 or so people on board the coach, the bus, and it was a windy country road. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, it's absolutely tragic. I mean, first thing I need to do really is to express my sincere condolences, prayers and thoughts to the family of the child that lost their life yesterday. As a parent myself, I cannot imagine how they must be feeling right now. It's absolutely terrible. My prayers and thoughts are also with the 21 that ended up in hospital, whether that be at Bristol or in Musgrave in Taunton. I hope they have a speedy recovery and obviously give them all my best wishes. And thirdly, I need to thank the emergency services. They worked incredibly hard in incredibly difficult circumstances. As you've just mentioned, the road is very windy. There are steep banks. The actual accident itself was challenging. So there was, not only because of the number of casualties, but also because of the position that the vehicle was in order to rescue those people. So hopefully, and I've also been informed that the appropriate support is being put in place for the professional services, so that if they need it, they can take up that. And I would urge them all to do so, because this whole thing is terribly horrific. The whole of Minehead is deeply in shock, is deeply grieving. We are a small town, circa 10,000 people, but we've only got one middle school, one senior school. So anybody with a child or a school-aged child would generally know somebody who was probably involved within that accident. So the whole town is coming together. It's terribly shocking, and I can't express the feelings of the town at the moment.
I know. Can you imagine? And also, Andy, the children who did miraculously survive and walk away, they'll have to deal with that for the rest of their lives, knowing that A, they were involved in such a horrific incident, but B, they've lost a classmate. And goodness me, the parents...
And in that regard, I mean, obviously the Beacon Education Trust that runs the school, they've closed all their schools in that trust, because they also run several other schools in Minehead, the first schools and the nursery schools. All of which are interlinked, as I said earlier. Many people have siblings that go to a younger school or an older school. So and they are meeting today to look at what we as a council and what they as a school can put in place to offer support to those children, whether it be now or during the school holidays or when they come back to school, to make sure that they are looked after socially and mentally, really, that they're picked up if they're having a problem.
All right, Andy, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate your time at such a tragic time. And our thoughts across the channel are with you, the community of Minehead, the parents, the victims, the school, the teachers, everybody. Thank you, Andy Hadley, you're a Conservative councillor in Minehead.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's just coming up to 10:15. In the last few minutes, former Defence Secretary Grant Shapps has spoken out about the Afghan leak super injunction. GB News political editor Christopher Hope joins us now.
Yes, I'm Grant Shapps, Sir Grant Shapps, of course. He set up that ARR route, the second secret route we didn't know about until this week, and the super injunction was lifted, which allowed 7,000 or so Afghans to come here. Maybe more might come. There's talk of the ECHR being used to get maybe 100,000 migrants flown back from Afghanistan. There's also talk of legal challenge by Day. They're a law firm. They're saying we're looking at legal avenues for judicial challenge for people who have been denied relocation, says here, and now find themselves on the list. There's claims that not everyone on that list was supportive of the UK at the time with our troops in Afghanistan. But Grant Shapps, he established a secret route, and he says this: there's been debate about the Afghan leak super injunction. Well, not half, frankly, but the truth is simple. Secrecy saved lives, he said. Afghans who helped us risk execution. British Special Forces were exposed. I'd make the same call again in a heartbeat and do whatever it takes to protect them. It's on the screen now if you want to read it.
Well, the question is, Chopper, fine, OK, you want some secrecy at the time. They were preparing to use £7 billion worth of taxpayer money at the maximum limit to get this done. What about years later? Would they have come out and said, 3-4 years later, oh, by the way, guys, just to let you know, this happened under the cloud of secrecy. Everybody's safe now, so we can tell you. Do you really think people are going to believe the government would have done that?
Well, they've kind of done that, haven't they? They've said now there's no further risk to those on the list. Well, that's what they're saying.
Only because of a legal challenge by the Daily Mail and so on, and also the Defence
Yes, but it was lifted by the government, not by the Daily Mail or by the courts. The government lifted it. They did their own review by Paul Rimmer. They found that there's no further threat. The list is out there. What's really worrying is that there's names of 100 MI6 spies on that list, because they were the contact for people who wanted to get back to the UK in the UK. Now, what happens to them? They've had their cover blown. That could mean that Russia knows where they are. The Taliban might pass it around if they want to other people. There are all ways of doing this, though, Ben. You could use the Official Secrets Act. You can use, you tie yourself to that. But a super injunction is so dramatic. We know it in journalism, don't we? It's used to hide away. We can't talk about even the presence of that injunction. But there could be 3 investigations now: the Intelligence Security Committee, the Defence Committee, the Science and Tech Committee. MPs are all over this, crawling all over this, and Tory MPs who are in charge at the time are running for cover.
Can I just say, I think this feels like some massive distraction from what's actually happening right now. Look, I agree with Grant Shapps over a super injunction, because there's been a data leak by some silly civil servant who somehow seems to nobody even
a soldier.
So we would like to know, first of all, that person needs to be punished. But who are they? What how did it all happen? We want to know about that. But these people should be protected if there is a data leak, and for those who are at peril, they should be protected. But if there is no evidence that there's any chance or anything that the Afghans, the Taliban will be interested in now, I don't see the problem with lifting the injunction, but then I don't really see the point of lifting it at all anyway. I don't see a problem with it. As soon as you lift it, then everyone's going to be more interested in the list again.
And that's what the government did this week. But we hadn't known about this out there. Some reporters knew about it. We had no idea about it until now.
Why do we need to know?
Well, I think we need to know. We need to know, so we're trying to... They are releasing information that way. I should say, on my podcast today, I do a podcast each week, we're talking about taxation with Jeremy Hunt. He's warning that there should be a big tax increase that's coming this autumn. He's concerned about it. I think the whole talk, when this starts away in August, is about what's happening in the October budget. He fears big increase in taxation.
Of course there will be, because they've made a mess of things. Thank you, Christopher Hope.
Thanks, Chopper. Let's get a quick check-in at Dover, as more small boats are crossing the channel as we speak, full of young men from faraway lands. We don't know who they are, what their intentions are. Here's Mark White.
Well, in terms of the fog, it's kind of lifting a little bit. We can almost see the harbour behind us now. So, I mean, in the middle of the channel, it's still, you know, as far as we can see, it's still. Sorry, I can't. Someone's talking to me.
Mark, we can hear you. Carry on.
Guys, if you're still...
Yep.
Yeah, OK. I'm hearing someone else chatting away to you. So in the middle of the channel at the moment, it's still pretty foggy, but about half a mile or so visibility. We think there's about 3 at least small boats out there, so that would be potentially, depending on how many are on board these boats, close to 200 migrants. About 50 migrants arrived here early this morning. There's a Border Force spotter plane that's up there. It's a plane that's been hired in from Canada, actually, that has all this sort of the apparatus that's required for sort of peering through the fog using radar to search for these vessels. There's a French vessel out there at the moment, the French vessel Formentine, that we think has been looking for one of the migrant boats, may have caught up with it now. So at least one of those small boats, we think, is probably just about 20 minutes or so from the line, that separation zone basically between UK waters and French waters, meaning that at that point, of course, they'll be picked up by a Border Force vessel and brought to Dover. So these arrivals here this morning are taking the total up to 23,000, more than 23,000 for the year so far. And that's a full 55% ahead of where we were at this point last year.
Oh, God, I mean, it just seems like they're coming and coming and coming. And it seems every time Keir Starmer meets up with his French counterpart, more of them come. Thank you very much, Mark White. We'll catch up with you throughout the day. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Mark. Up next, Scotland has a very special visitor coming next week. Here's a clue. He loves a little bit of golf. We'll reveal all in just a tick.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Front page of the Times today says exercise proves the best therapy for keeping cancer at bay. Let's get the views of Tim Vincent.
It's quite an exciting trial, this. There's new findings every single day, isn't it? But I think this has been done over many years by a lot of people. And it actually says, what you'd assume would be the case is that if you exercise, then it keeps your health in a better condition and will keep cancer from returning measurably, notably.
Yeah.
So I think it's 30-something%. And this is on people that have had cancer and then are encouraged to exercise. And there's many doctors over the years have said, not quite sure. If you feel like you can exercise, then exercise. They're now saying you should exercise as soon as you feel good enough.
This just
will make a big difference.
This makes me feel awful because I would have been pro-exercise, except I can't move. I'm in a wheelchair now, and I can't put on the right trainers, I can't change, I can't go to the showers, I can't do things. It's just I can't stand up. So there are a lot of people who are incapable of exercising, and therefore, rightly so, we see their increase of cancer growing.
Absolutely, and that's an issue that everybody's going to face, and you're obviously in a really difficult position. Any exercise, I think, is going to help, especially for these people that have had cancer once and can get out there. And it's very isolating as well, exercising.
So you're actually saying, if you're in redemption from cancer or whatever, you could keep it at bay by exercising.
It's actually better than a pill.
Yeah.
The results are actually better than a...
I think it's 36%, isn't it, for exercise?
Yeah.
GB News, the People's Channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. 10:24. Ben and Nana with you on Britain's Newsroom on GB News.
Yes, joining us, political commentators Juditha De Silva and Emma Trimble. They're in the studio. OK, so I want to start with this story with Diane Abbott, who loses the whip as she's been stripped of the Labour whip following her comments on racism. I think we'll start... Should we go to... Who wants to go first on this?
Roll the dice.
It's a hard choice. There's only two of them.
OK, so a while ago, people might remember that Diane Abbott made some comments about how Jews don't suffer racism in the same way that black people do. She lost the whip for that, and now, having apologised for it, she did an interview on BBC Radio 4 and has effectively doubled down and has lost the whip again. So I think it's the 5th Labour MP in the last 2 days to lose the whip.
What are your thoughts on what she was saying then? Because it was more to the point that she was saying that she trivialised the experience of racism for Jewish people and made comparisons to being called out for being ginger and things like that. Yeah. So that is, for me, that's where the real problem is, where she's trivialised and created almost like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Diane Abbott's hierarchy of racism.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she did trivialise it. And what's interesting is that people like Diane Abbott, people who are kind of in this new critical race theory way of viewing things, they view race as being something that is constructed. You experience racism because of power structures around you and so on. And even by that definition, surely she should recognise that Jews do suffer racism regardless of, you know, whether their skin is white or black. But, of course, the reality is that throughout most of European history, Jews have been the primary target of racism. There is an ethnic component to Judaism. She was absolutely trivialising it. And the fact that she doubled down just shows that she didn't really understand what she'd done in the first place and why she had been sort of pushed into apologising for it.
First of all, she didn't trivialise it, and this is basically exemplary of the issue because, first of all, like I would say almost every black person, we have Jewish friends and we have this exact conversation. The reason there is such kinship between black people and Jewish people is because there's an understanding of the flavour of prejudice that is racism or whatever you want to call it. She would never trivialise anti-Semitism.
She did.
What she said was, we experience it differently.
No, that's the second time round. Let's talk about the first time round.
The first time she said that different groups experience racism differently. And that's just a fact.
Well, everyone experiences things differently.
Yes.
You will experience eating,
that is just
if you
a
ate
fact.
a chocolate biscuit,
you would experience, so we're not getting
you would
bogged down in the
experience the flavour of the chocolate biscuit differently to me. So that is just a non-comment.
Yeah, so why is there such a dispute? I'm just stating an irrefutable fact.
The dispute is the
comparison. When she apologised, said she apologised for any hurt she caused because Diane Abbott is not going out to cause harm to or hurt to Jewish people. That is not her motivation, and she gave that apology. The point she said, as you've just said, it's true, we all experience things differently.
Everything.
When I speak to my Jewish friends, their experience of anti-Semitism, I will never know because I am not Jewish. My experience of racism, they will never know because they are not black. But we understand prejudice, that's why we have kinship. And so what she's saying now is that she cannot basically go back on what she said because what she said is the truth. And even the lady you spoke to who's Jewish said that, of course I understand where she's coming from. But what I believe is that the bigger ramifications of her doubling down is because there is a witch hunt against her. Since I was a child, the reason why Diane Abbott is such a beacon for me is that even within the Labour Party, she has experienced such abhorrent racism, as well as outside of it, but she has stayed the course. She is the kind of person that if she's driven out by the Labour Party, a lot of voters will go with her, a lot of them will be black voters.
What have you seen that she's experienced that's racist?
From when I was a child, the kind of things, the monkey comparisons, her looks... From within the Labour Party, it happened. I remember this because I've been a Labour supporter like always, but then I remember why Diane Abbott stood out for me is because seeing a black woman in politics and seeing the things they would say about her in articles, the conversations that were had about her, and this woman stayed the course, it meant something to me. It's inspired me. So that's why I'm saying that it's important she doubles down, because what she said was factually right. The articulation could be questionable, but what she said is factually right. Okay. So if somebody is going, if the Labour Party are going to oust her because of it, she will take supporters with her. And if she joins that party with Jeremy Corbyn,
can I bring
the way
Emma in?
Jeremy Corbyn gets Islamists...
Okay, let's bring Emma in. Emma.
Well, I mean, maybe she'll go over to Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultana's new party. I think she would probably be a very good fit for them. But look, the issue here is it's not about whether or not Diane Abbott has suffered racism. It's not about whether racism...
Hang on, let her finish.
It's not about whether racism against white people, Chinese people, Arab people, whatever, whether those take slightly different forms. It's not about that. It's about the fact that the upshot of what she said was that Jewish people don't experience racism because they are white. They experience discrimination, and discrimination is different.
She did not say that. She said they experience it in a different way. Even the Jewish lady you spoke to said that. She said, we do experience it in a different way. So do not put... See, this is what I'm saying. You're politicising a conversation black people and Jewish people have already. And we heard exactly what she said, and we knew what she meant. But because you're doing it at a time that's so contentious, people co-opt it and they corrupt it to be able to fuel their own personal political agenda.
I mean, it might have something to do with the overall context that the Labour Party clearly has an anti-Semitism.
Let me just read what she said in the letter to the Observer. She suggested that Jewish people do not face racism, but instead face prejudice similar to redheads, OK? She was apparently responding to a writer who claimed that Irish, Jewish and travellers all suffer from racism. Diane said, racism in Britain is not a black and white issue. It's far more complicated. She wrote, they undoubtedly experience prejudice. This is similar to racism, and the two words are often used as if they're interchangeable. So she basically discredited it. I'm telling you her words.
These are her words. Words are not interchangeable.
Let's analyse the exact words. From conversations I've had with my Jewish friends, there was one time I said that being black is a race, Judaism is a religion. And they said, yes, indeed, that's a separation. But what has happened is that the anti-Semitism, it's an ethno-religious group. That is why you have that crossover, that bleed over with what racism is. That's the conversation we have. So what she's doing is trying to, in a short time, as she said, a very complicated issue, put it out quickly in the interview. But what she's saying, the foundation of it is the truth. It's a religion versus aesthetics versus race. Okay. They are all different.
She also said it is true that many types of white people with points of difference, such as redheads, can experience this prejudice, but they are not all their lives subject to racism. See, now, I'm not all my life subject to racism. I think she's trying to elude the fact that if you're black, people can see it, and if you're Jewish, most people potentially can't. But I don't think that really works out, because actually sometimes you can see that people are Jewish. So to me, racism is racism. Everyone has different experiences of everything. So I don't really think that's... I think she needs to learn that she's trivialising racism that Jewish people feel. But I've literally read the bit where she compares it similar to redheads. She has trivialised it.
She has simplified
Even she admitted it, and then she changed her mind.
She literally
said that to you. I don't know why you can't
She says that racism and prejudice are often used as interchangeable terms, implying that they don't mean the same thing. And she's just said in her quote that Jewish people suffer prejudice, and therefore it is distinct from racism.
All right, we've got to leave it there. We've got to leave it there.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. Here's your 60-second news update with Katie Bowen.
Good morning. The headlines at 10:32. Keir Starmer said that there are no adequate words to acknowledge the death of a child after the fatal school coach crash in Minehead. A child died and 21 others have been taken to hospital following the collision between Wedden Cross and Timbercombe yesterday afternoon. Diane Abbott says the Labour leadership wants me out, and that her comments in a BBC interview released this week were factually correct after she was suspended from the Labour Party for a second time. More than 23,000 small boat migrants have crossed the Channel this year, as hundreds more make the crossing this morning. The number who have crossed so far this year is more than 55% up on the same period last year. The number of the most serious water pollution incidents rose by 60% last year, according to the Environment Agency. The data, which covers England, found that 3 companies, Thames Water, Southern Water and Yorkshire Water, are responsible for more than 80% of the incidents. And former Defence Secretary Sir Grant Shapps says he'd make the same call again in a heartbeat when it comes to the Afghan data leak, saying Afghans who helped Britain risked execution and British special forces were exposed. Those are your latest GB News headlines. More news at the top of the hour.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Up next, charities are calling on the government to curb smoking as Brits smoke 78 million cigarettes every day. Should they be stopped?
No. This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News.
Morning. Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Again today, quite a mix of weather. Hot with hazy sunshine across East Anglia and the southeast. Elsewhere, yes, some sunshine, but also some heavy downpours. A drab start for southwest Scotland, parts of West Wales with some rain and drizzle here. And then we'll see showers developing as we go through the morning. Some heavy ones this afternoon over Northern Ireland, perhaps western Scotland and also northeast England. And here we do have a Met Office thunderstorm warning in place. East Anglia in the southeast, only the small chance of catching a downpour. Generally, it's sunny here and hot, highs of 30 Celsius. Not as hot elsewhere, but still for many feeling quite humid. The southeast, as I say, has the chance of catching an afternoon downpour, but mostly set fair here, as it is across the southwest. Could just be fairly cloudy here. Some sunshine developing across Wales. It's northeast England where we've got the greatest risk of thunderstorms that could cause some disruption with large hail and hefty downpours of rain. Same goes for Northern Ireland. No warning here at the moment, but still some potentially very heavy showers coming through and a scattering of showers likely across Scotland through the day with maybe some along those easternmost coasts. The heavy showers over northeast England should fade, but then we look down to the south. We're importing further hefty downpours coming across the channel, further thundery showers likely to develop through the early hours across the southeast as temperatures hold up maybe as high as 20 Celsius. A more comfortable night for sleeping further north and west, but still very humid air across these eastern counties, generating further thunderstorms on Saturday. Should be tracking northwards into parts of northern England, across the Midlands as well. The storms tomorrow could generate large hailstones, gusty wind, as well as the potential for flooding. Maybe getting into southern Scotland, parts of North Wales at times. Further west, many places will be dry. Temperatures not as high tomorrow. Still quite humid, though, with temperatures in the low 20s.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Today, on the A12 northbound between junction 32B and 33 in Suffolk, a road collision causes delays. One lane is closed, delaying travellers by 10 minutes. Overnight roadworks on the A55 westbound from junction 18 Llandudno Junction to junction 17 Conwy Morpher have led to a lane closure, so expect longer journeys. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast services between Warrington Bank Quay and Crewe face disruption. Northern services at Sheffield face issues affecting Warrington Bank Quay and Chester. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Welcome back, 10:37. Ben and Nana with you on Britain's Newsroom this morning on GB News.
So, it's all about smoking. Did you ever smoke?
I used to, yeah. Probably from 17 till, I don't know, mid-20s.
Were you a serious smoker, or were you just one of those that would just smoke when you go out to...
Bit of both. I used to smoke probably at my peak, maybe 5 or 6 roll-ups a day.
Did you think you looked cool?
Did I think I looked cool? Probably at one point. I mean, I hated it in the end, so I stopped. I realised it was... I'm quite into my sport, so I saw how it would affect cardio and so on, so I stopped. But I don't think I looked cool.
I did. I thought I was really cool. It
was definitely a social thing. That had a part in it as well. When you're having drinks at night or with work friends or after meals and so on, you'd have a cigarette. Not anymore, though. Not for 11, 12 years.
Well, it's bad for your skin as well. That's what really put me off. It was cosmetic reasons that I stopped, literally the next day. But new research shows that Brits smoke over 28 billion cigarettes each year, with around 78 million smoked every day.
So, as you've said, alongside health impacts of smoking, cigarettes are producing up to 140,000 metric tonnes of toxic waste yearly, and charities are calling on the government to do more to curb the habit.
So, we are asking, is it time to get tougher on smoking?
We're joined now by the Chief Exec of Action on Smoking and Health, Hazel Cheeseman, and the founder of Forest, Simon Clark. Good morning to you both. Thank you for your company. Hazel, do you think the government needs to get tough on smoking?
Yeah, and I think the public agree too. I mean, the public want to see a world where smoking doesn't exist anymore. It's one of those weird freaks of history that this is a legal product on the market, despite addicting and killing up to 2/3 of people who smoke long term. So absolutely, the government needs to get through the piece of legislation which is currently before Parliament, Tobacco and Vapes Bill, which will phase out the sale of tobacco to the next generation. But that won't be enough. I mean, we still have 6 million people smoking in this country, and there's a great deal more that we could do to help that population of people to stop.
Are you suggesting one of those helps could be putting them on vapes, or is that bad as well, in your view?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think where people are switching to vaping, that's a much safer alternative than continuing to smoke. The government has a scheme, the Stop to Stop scheme, where they can provide people with access to free vaping products to help them stop smoking. And those are exactly the sorts of things that we need to fund and need to be in place to help the people that are continuing to smoke in this population to stop.
You are aware that vapes are actually turning out to be quite dangerous, as they're finding people with lung issues and people taking in more nicotine than they would with a cigarette. All right, let's go to Simon Clark. What's your view?
Hello. Well, first of all, quick correction. I'm not the founder of Forest. Forest was founded in 1979 when I was only 20. But look, regarding today's story about cancer research warning about the staggering number of cigarettes smoked every year in this country, I mean, the reality is, let's put this into perspective. The reality is smoking rates have been falling for decades, since the 50s and 60s. That was the peak of smoking in this country. And at the moment, we're down to less than 13% of the adult population. And so the number of cigarettes that are smoked every day has been hyped out of all proportion. And yes, of course, there is a higher proportion of cigarettes smoked in disadvantaged areas, which is one of the things that cancer research are going on about. But rather than punishing people in those areas by forcing them to quit a habit that in many cases they enjoy or brings comfort, the government needs to prioritise improving the environment in which those people live, including housing conditions. Now, that's the priority. And Hazel says everybody in this country supports a smoke-free future. That's simply not true. I mean, there are still over 4 million people. I mean, I think it's near 5-6 million people who smoke in this country. Yes, there are some people who want to quit. But what we mustn't forget is that a great many people enjoy smoking. They get pleasure from smoking. They know the health risks.
I think they're probably addicted to smoking. I think it's more they're addicted. There'll be a few.
Well, some people are addicted, but millions of people have quit smoking. So if smoking was so addictive, nobody would be able to give it up. But
No, well, it depends on your personality. No, I don't agree with that. It's addictive, but if you haven't got an addictive personality, then you're probably OK with it. You'll be addicted for a while and then you can come off it, but some people truly are addicted to it. If it was brought out now, it would probably be illegal. So do you not think that perhaps the government, with that, if you were to give it that kind of comparison, and alcohol would be the same probably, that perhaps smoking needs to, we need to do more to stop people from taking it up?
No, absolutely not. I think we've gone far enough. I mean, the war on smoking has been going on for 50 or 60 years, and it's ramped up over the last 25 years. We initially had the ban on smoking, on tobacco advertising and sponsorship. Then we had the smoking ban, banning smoking in every single pub and club in the country, regardless of whether or not the owner of those pubs wanted to provide separate smoking rooms, for example. We had the ban on the display of tobacco in shops. We've had plain packaging, a ban on menthol cigarettes. Now the government wants to introduce a generational ban on the sale of tobacco, which simply isn't going to work, and it will infantilise future generations of adults.
Hazel, look, I don't smoke anymore, but I support people's rights to smoke if that's what they want to do. People do enjoy smoking, although some are addicted as well. Do you not think you're just being a bit of a party pooper here? How far do you want to go with banning things that people enjoy? What about donuts? What about seed oils, fried foods? I mean, where do we stop?
Well, I think we do have to remember that cigarettes are really a unique consumer product. There is nothing else on the market like them. And it's really helpful to have Simon there just detail all of the measures that we've put in place over the last 15 plus years that have brought those smoking rates down. As Simon rightly says, we had some of the highest rates of smoking in Europe, and we have some of the lowest rates of smoking in Europe. But the history teaches us that if we want to keep bringing these smoking rates down, and it's not just about the personal cost, which is enormous. I mean, I think it's incredibly patronising to say to people, oh, this is a pleasure that people who live in disadvantaged areas shouldn't have taken away from them, when the consequences are, lifelong, life-limiting health conditions, living with, incredibly unpleasant conditions. I think that's just incredibly patronising.
So where do we stop, Hazel? Do we stop? Do we go on to... where do we stop? As I said, do we go on to donuts and fried foods and some sports because they're dangerous?
Well, we're already on to sugar, aren't we?
Well, we should be regulating, particularly industries which cause our populations harm. We should regulate those products appropriately. Tobacco is incredibly lethal, therefore it warrants all of the very restrictive regulations that we have around it. We look at other products on their own merit and say, well, alcohol causes cancer, sugar causes obesity that has a whole range of
do you drink, Hazel?
We should regulate those appropriately.
Do you drink?
I do drink.
You do drink. Just interesting.
Well, we're going to ban that, Hazel.
Yeah,
no more G&Ts in the evening for you.
Too many for you, Hazel. Really good to talk to you both. Thank you very much, Hazel Cheeseman and Simon Clark. Thank you.
Thank you both. Let us know what you think on that. gbnews.com/your say. Lots of you saying that, it's nanny state, you don't want more government intervention. I have to agree. I don't like smoking anymore. I think it stinks, but I support everyone's right to do it. If you want to puff away watching GB News, having a cheeky cigarette or two, go for it.
As long as you're not affecting other people, do it in a room on your own and breathing all your toxins.
That's one thing.
That's my problem.
Around kids, smoking around children. You see parents in cars
absolutely
driving with a cigarette with two young kiddos in the back.
Absolutely. To me, that's sort of like child abuse. But listen, stay with us. Loads still to come here on GB News. But if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's the forecast of some of the top European destinations.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Lots of blue skies and strong hot sunshine around the Mediterranean at the moment. There's going to be a bit of a breeze blowing, however, this weekend, especially for Crete and Cyprus. Maybe 1 or 2 showers inland across Turkey, but again, most of the coast's dry and sunny. Same goes for Italy and much of southern Spain, along with the Balearics and the Canaries. Also set fair. Temperatures in Tenerife close to 30 Celsius. We'll have highs here of 29 for the next few days and similar temperatures in Barcelona.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Good morning. It's 49 minutes after 10 o'clock. This is Britain's Newsroom with Ben Leo and me, Nana Acquia.
Good morning. Thank you for your company today and your emails. One has come in on... Oh, I've lost it now. Of course I have. It was about... Oh, it's gone. There you go. Great stuff.
OK.
Sausage fingers.
Let's see. Let's see. Oh, Christopher says, I laughed when I worked in schools how many teachers and assistants smoked, especially in the mornings before school opened, with some staff getting through 2 or 3. They are then given a duty to inform the kids about health. At one school, even the PE teacher smoked. He said they live on their nerves and need their fix.
Yeah. I found the email, you'll be pleased to know. It's from Karen. We're talking about racism, Diane Abbott, Jews, black people, ginger people. Karen, you've said the public is so sick of hearing about racism 24/7. Me
Amen.
too.
Preach.
No wonder the country's in the toilet as we spend all our time talking about racism and who's been offended rather than fixing broken Britain. That's exactly what I said to Nana in the break.
So true.
I said, I'm so bored of people talking about racism and discrimination and how they're offended and what it means. I don't care. I've got better things to think
boring,
about.
Isn't it? I'm offended more than you because I'm black and you're Jewish, so my offence is higher than yours. And it's like, oh, for goodness sake, racism is racism. Deal with it. You know, whether someone can see you and decides that by looking at you they don't like you, or whether it's listening to you or acknowledging that you are something. It's really, really boring and annoying and literally irrelevant to the reality of life.
Yeah.
The question is, judge people on the content of their character, not the colour of their skin. And if you go with that guide, you'll be fine. And Diane Abbott should know better, and she shouldn't be doubling down on something that she said, which was, again, her hierarchy of racism, where she compared being Jewish to being ginger and compared the level of abuse given to ginger people to those who are Jewish, when, in reality, it sounds like she's forgotten about the Holocaust. And for her doubling down on it, especially after October the 7th, I think that she's just got to go. Go and join Jeremy Corbyn.
Do you know why people are so bored of it? It's because most people, 99% of people, aren't racist.
Exactly.
They don't see this nonsense. They don't look at people and say, oh, he's black, or, you know, there's a white guy over there. Even gingers, Diane Abbott. People don't live like that. They're trying to work hard and provide for their families and just crack on and enjoy their lives. They don't think about all this intellectual nonsense claptrap. So that's why people don't care about it. It's the 1% of low-grade people who want to make it an issue.
Exactly. And Diane Abbott, she's literally joining them by making it an issue every time. And the thing is, I think the problem for her is everyone goes, oh, she was the first black female MP in the House of Commons. It's like, yeah, but you can't trade on that forever. You can't trade on that forever, love. You need to really shape up your game. And it can't all be about colour. It really can't.
I've got one from Carol here who said, GB News assisting the nanny state, I see. Shame on you. I'm sick and tired of being told what I can do and cannot do. I'm very disappointed to see GB News join the club and using sanctimonious ex-smokers to plug it. I mean, I think both Nana and I said
I don't care if someone
smokes. We don't care.
It's up to them. They're their lungs, but don't smoke around me. I don't want to breathe it in. Anne-Marie said, she said, banning things bad, education good. Instead of indoctrinating kids in schools with lefty ideology and wokery, try indoctrinating them into eating healthily, looking after themselves. Talk to them about smoking before they reach a certain age. It's so easy to get kids onto a bandwagon. We've seen that with the trans lobby. That's what she said. So create a new bandwagon and let the horses run. By the way, I am an ex-smoker and is highly addictive and took me several attempts to quit. Listen, I don't thank you for that. I don't condone smoking at all. I think it's an awful thing, and if I could stop people, I was in the health industry, I would. I think it's stinky, it's disgusting, and I see people doing it, I think they're weak, but in my view, it's up to them. It's their lungs.
Yeah, exactly. Did you see the Lionesses last night? They won 3-2.
Oh, good for them. No, I didn't.
No? No, not a supporter of women?
I'm supporter of women. I just don't like football. It's football. I can't be bothered with it.
Fair enough.
Nothing to do with whether you're a woman or a man.
Would you have watched it if it was the men's in the semis?
No, I've got better things to do.
All right. Plenty more to come this morning. Oh, by the way, congrats to the Lionesses. They won 3-2 against Sweden, I think, and they're into the semi-finals of the Women's Euros, so well done to you.
Yeah, well done to them anyway.
Yeah, well done. Plenty more to come this morning. Here is your latest weather forecast. I think you need to wrap up warm. Back in a tick.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Morning. Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Again today, quite a mix of weather. Hot with hazy sunshine across East Anglia and the southeast. Elsewhere, yes, some sunshine, but also some heavy downpours. A drab start for southwest Scotland, parts of West Wales with some rain and drizzle here, and then we'll see showers developing as we go through the morning. Some heavy ones this afternoon over Northern Ireland, perhaps western Scotland and also northeast England. And here we do have a Met Office thunderstorm warning in place. East Anglia in the southeast, only the small chance of catching a downpour. Generally, it's sunny here and hot, highs of 30 Celsius. Not as hot elsewhere, but still for many feeling quite humid. The southeast, as I say, has the chance of catching an afternoon downpour, but mostly set fair here, as it is across the southwest. Could just be fairly cloudy here. Some sunshine developing across Wales. It's northeast England where we've got the greatest risk of thunderstorms that could cause some disruption with large hail and hefty downpours of rain. Same goes for Northern Ireland. No warning here at the moment, but still some potentially very heavy showers coming through and a scattering of showers likely across Scotland through the day with maybe some along those easternmost coasts. The heavy showers over northeast England should fade, but then we look down to the south. We're importing further hefty downpours coming across the Channel, further thundery showers likely to develop through the early hours across the southeast as temperatures hold up maybe as high as 20 Celsius. A more comfortable night for sleeping further north and west, but still very humid air across these eastern counties, generating further thunderstorms on Saturday. Should be tracking northwards into parts of northern England, across the Midlands as well. The storms tomorrow could generate large hailstones, gusty wind, as well as the potential for flooding. Maybe getting into southern Scotland, parts of North Wales at times. Further west, many places will be dry. Temperatures not as high tomorrow. Still quite humid, though, with temperatures in the low 20s.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
£54,321 cash could be yours. Cash that you could spend however you like. It's like having an extra £1,000 each week for a whole year to play with. Someone is guaranteed to win this amazing amount of cash. So make sure that someone could be you. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello, good morning. It's 11 o'clock on Friday, July the 18th, live across the UK, Britain's Newsroom with Ben Leo and Nana Akweer.
Yes, good morning to you. The ECHR Afghan support scheme lawyers plan to use human rights laws to force the government to bring tens of thousands more Afghans to Britain to protect them from the Taliban.
What could go wrong? It comes as former Defence Secretary Grant Shapps speaks out about the Afghan leak super injunction, saying he'd make the same call again in a heartbeat.
Small boat surge incoming. The Prime Minister celebrates a new pact with Germany to stop illegal migration, but as Dover is covered by thick fog this morning, the small boats are flooding in. Mark White is there.
Well, the fog is finally lifting here at Dover. Several small boats now in the English Channel being intercepted by Border Force as we speak. It's taken the total number who've crossed so far this year to more than 23,000.
Some sad news as a school trip tragedy unfolds. One child dies as a bus crashes and overturns in Minehead after taking 60 children to the zoo.
Overnight disorder erupts at an organised demonstration as protesters clash with police outside an Essex hotel housing migrants.
Clearly, there must be a difference between racism, which is about colour, and other types of racism.
The longest-serving female MP, Diane Abbott, you heard her there. She's suspended again from the Labour Party after doubling down on her claim that Jews experience racism differently to black people.
And England's ladies are through to the Euros semi-final after beating Sweden 3-2 on penalties. The Lionesses are marching on, but have you been following them? See, now, I don't really like watching football. I can't be bothered unless it's a World Cup. And even if it was women or men, I'd probably watch a World Cup sort of final. But I'm just not really into it, to be honest.
Would you be more inclined to watch the men? Or you just don't care?
I just don't really care. It's just, you know, I just can't be bothered with it. I'm just so busy trying on different wigs, putting on outfits, dealing with my 2 children. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. I used to love football when I was a kid. I've kind of gone off it as more money pours into it. It becomes more corporate, more business-like. I still love my Arsenal team, but they just continue to let me down year after year. So I'm trying to find ways to deal with the heartbreak and the disappointment. But
choose a different side. Choose a different team that will actually win something.
Yeah,
that'll probably help.
I couldn't do that. I love Arsenal too much. Last hour coming up on Britain's Newsroom, some big stories, including what have we got coming up? The migrants. Mark White is down at Dover.
Yeah.
Boats coming, hundreds of migrants coming across the channel as we speak this morning. 24,000 now for the year into Britain. So much for smash the gangs, eh?
And also lawyers using ECHR to admit more Afghans due to the data leak, which has now reignited the whole situation, and people claiming that they're at risk again, which...
Yeah, now they're suing you for £1 billion of taxpayer money. Very good. Great stuff. Let's get some news headlines with Casey Bowen.
Ben, Nana, thank you. The headlines at 4 minutes past 11. Sir Keir Starmer said that there are no adequate words to acknowledge the death of a child after the fatal school coach crash in Minehead. A child died and 21 others have been taken to hospital following the collision between Wedden Cross and Timbercombe yesterday afternoon. The bus slid down a 20-foot bank as it left the A396 at Cutcombe Hill. Several had serious injuries, including 2 children, and it's understood that there were 60 to 70 people on board at the time. The bus was bringing children back from a day trip to Exmoor Zoo, the coach operator said. Chief Superintendent Mark Edgington says it's been an incredibly challenging scene for all emergency services, calling the events truly tragic. The road remained shut overnight. Elsewhere, Diane Abbott says the Labour leadership wants me out and that her comments in a BBC interview released this week were factually correct after she was suspended from the Labour Party for a second time. A Labour Party spokesman said Miss Abbott had been suspended pending an investigation after she doubled down on comments about racism for which she had previously apologised. She's the 5th Labour MP to be suspended by Sir Keir Starmer this week. Miss Abbott was suspended by Labour in 2023 after writing a letter to The Observer comparing racism experienced by people of colour with that seen by other groups. She apologised and was readmitted to the party before the 2024 general election. Rachel Maskell, Brian Leishman, Chris Hinchcliffe and Neil Duncan Jordan also all lost the whip this week. They now sit as independents in the House of Commons. Former Defence Secretary Sir Grant Shapps says he'd make the same call again in a heartbeat when it comes to the Afghan data leak, saying Afghans who helped Britain risked execution and British special forces were exposed. That's as the chairman of the Intelligence and Security Committee said this morning that there are serious constitutional issues raised by the leak and that the data divulged could be used by states who want to do us harm. The personal details of spies and special forces were included in a data leak that led to thousands of Afghans being secretly relocated to the UK. Information about more than 100 Britons was contained in the breach, as defence sources say details of MI6 spies, SAS and special forces personnel were included in the spreadsheet. More than 23,000 small boat migrants have crossed the English Channel so far this year, as hundreds more make the crossing this morning. People smuggling gangs have taken advantage of thick fog in the English Channel today to launch multiple small boats towards UK waters. GB News can also reveal that the total number of migrants who have crossed the Channel so far this year has now passed 23,000, with more than 320 migrants making the crossing yesterday and hundreds currently making the crossing now. The number who've crossed so far this year is up more than 55% on the same period last year. Exchequer Secretary to the Treasury, James Murray, spoke to GB News.
We've been working with Germany. As you know, we've also been working with France about making sure we're working with international allies to take action to stop this people smuggling happening across the Channel, because there isn't a silver bullet for this. This is a big issue that we need to tackle, and so we're trying every possible avenue to try and make sure we stop the gangs exploiting people by putting them in the boats across the Channel, because we know how important this is.
And the number of the most serious water pollution incidents rose by 60% last year. That's according to the Environment Agency. The data, which covers England, found that 3 companies, Thames Water, Southern Water and Yorkshire Water, are responsible for more than 80% of the incidents. The Environment Agency said it found consistently poor performance across all 9 water and wastewater firms in the country. The report comes as MPs called for a complete overhaul of the system regulating water companies earlier this week. Minister for Water and Flooding, Emma Hardy, reacted to the news.
It's a complete disgrace what's happened, and people have every right to be furious about it. I'm furious about what's happened, and we've seen it particularly from 3 of the water companies. And it is clear that regulation isn't working effectively, but we've put in those building blocks to try and change things. When we came into government, we introduced the Water Special Measures Act, which has banned unfair bonuses. So some of those polluting water buses have not been getting bonuses this time because of the levels of pollution that we've seen. But we've also managed to get £104 billion of investment into the sector, because fundamentally, if we want to stop pollution, we need to invest in improving the infrastructure, which has been left to just fall apart over the last 14 years.
Those are your latest headlines. More news in half an hour. First, though, a look at the markets.
My Claim Group sponsors the GB News Finance Report.
Here's a quick snapshot of today's markets. The pound will buy you $1.3441 and €1.1546. The price of gold is £2,494.16 per ounce, and the FTSE 100 at 8,999 points.
My Claim Group sponsors the GB News Finance Report.
Good morning, 11:09. Ben and Nana with you on Britain's Newsroom on GB News. Hope you're having a good day, and thank you for your company and emails. Nana, I've got a great email for you.
Go on, go for it.
Well, for both of us, actually. It's from Andrew, who has said, Ben Leo and Nana Aquir both say they hate racism being talked about all the time, and they work for GB News that goes on and on about migrants and immigrants crossing the channel. Surely that's a form of racism. Talk about hypocrisy.
It's got nothing to do. Listen, people coming to the country illegally and scamming the system, because ultimately that's what happens, and an industry of lawyers who use the ECHR and get paid a fortune and get money which I put into the tax system and then prioritise people who've come here illegally, that's not racism. That's just me looking at it and getting really, really annoyed. I don't care where these people are from. I don't care whether they're white, green, purple, pink. I don't care. My problem is that they're coming here illegally, they're scamming the system, and we, the taxpayer, are picking up the pieces. Why do you think we see this as racism?
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with race. Some of them are white, some of them are black, some of them are whatever. I just don't like people breaking the rules. I can't stand the fact that me as a taxpayer has to pick up the pieces. And when I see people who are already in this country, have worked and put their money into this country, having to go behind the queue, at the back of the queue, I'll get really, really agitated.
Yeah, Andrew, they could be 23,000 white Americans coming across the channel.
Don't care.
It doesn't matter. We don't know who they are, where they're from and what their intentions are, and also it's costing you, me and everybody else a pretty penny. Doesn't matter where they're, you know... I suppose in some aspects it does matter where they're from. Cultures such as Afghanistan view women differently, but it's nothing to do with the colour of their skin. It's not racist to not want... And also, it's just illegal. It's illegal.
What's wrong with you?
If you went around busting cannabis farms with grown by Vietnamese people, are you going to say that's racist as well because you want to stop illegality?
Do you know,
no,
I think
it's illegal.
I think he thinks he's being nice. You want the people to carry on coming via the boats. You want them to carry on risking their lives, although they do get picked up halfway, so it's not really that dangerous as it used to be. But you want people to risk their lives, hang out in Calais, do this. Come on, man. Come on. It's totally... It's got to stop. We can't keep funding that.
Actually,
we can't keep funding that, can we?
Thinking about that email now, I think it's somebody on a wind-up. I don't think anybody can do that. It must be.
It worked.
It must
worked. Listen, it worked, because, frankly, it's nothing to do with that. It's more taking advantage of the generosity of the British people, and we're sick of it, and it's got to stop. All right, so if you just tuned in 11 minutes after 11 o'clock, this is GB News. We are Britain's news channel.
Yes, the Prime Minister has said there are no adequate words to acknowledge the death of a child after a bus crash in Maidenhead killed one.
Yeah. Awful story, that bus in Minehead, which was bringing children back from a day trip to the zoo when the crash happened.
The Liberal Democrat MP for Tiverton and Minehead, Rachel Gilmore, joins us now. Thank you for your company this morning. I say to all our guests on this morning, I'm sorry it's under these circumstances, so tragic. I understand it was the children and teachers were returning from a school trip, Rachel, 60 of them odd on board, and one, sadly, tragically, didn't make it home.
No, they were at Exmoor Zoo, which is just outside Simmonsbath in my constituency, and driving back across the moor on a road which is very narrow with windy bends and, you know, blind corners and very steep slopes. And the bus went off the road and landed on its top, landed on its ceiling, and absolutely traumatic. Absolutely traumatic.
Is where this happened, is this a hotspot for accidents, or is it, even though it's a tricky road, it's okay? Because obviously as an MP, you definitely have some power to look into how that road is constructed and what could be done to make it safer.
Well, it's the landscape. You know, you're coming off a moor, you're coming down a valley road, which winds down like that. And you know, if you know the area, you just know when to slow down. So it's not about changing the road, it's about people driving responsibly and recognising that these small, narrow Devon, Somerset lanes, you know, you can't whiz around at 60 miles an hour, even though ridiculously that is the speed limit.
I see. Well, there's no evidence that he was the person driving was driving dangerously or out of the limit or anything. I'm just clearing it up. Yeah, no, I'm just clearing that up.
He's a very experienced coach driver, and he's still in hospital, and there are still other people in hospital.
Yeah.
So no, it's just the nature of the road, and we don't know what's happened. You know, it's all up in the air at the moment.
Yeah.
The police will be starting their investigation today, and having spoken to them, they said it's going to take a long time because there's many angles to it.
Yes, Rachel, and those poor children who did miraculously make it out alive, and some were seriously injured and are still receiving treatment, but those poor children, youngsters who have been involved in that crash, they survived, they're in the knowledge that their classmate has died. For them, I can't imagine what life will be like for them going forward. Can you just tell us, please, how they'll be looked after by the community, by the school?
Well, we have very strong communities here, as you can imagine. You know, if you live up on the moor, you have yourselves to rely on. So we do look after each other. We do reach out when something dreadful like this happens. I haven't spoken to the school. I don't think that's my place to speak to the school today when they've got more important things to do. But I'm sure as time goes on, there will be the support that the children need, and support for the parents as well, and support for the teachers that were also on the coach.
Yeah, indeed. Well, look, our thoughts at GB News are with you, the community, the children, the victim, their family, all the children, the staff, the teachers, you know, everybody in Minehead dealing with this at the moment. It's such a cliche, but it's every parent's nightmare, isn't it? And we extend our best wishes to you.
Very easy to find oneself talking in cliches, which I've deliberately tried to avoid.
I know, yeah. Rachel Gilmore, thank you very much, Lib Dem MP down in Minehead. Thank you very much.
All right, well, let's check in on Mark White in Dover as more small boats are crossing the channel. Mark is there. Mark, what more can you tell us?
Hi, good morning to you. Yeah, the weather in the channel, thankfully, seems to be lifting now. We can just about see Dover Harbour properly now. Having said that, you know, just when we think it's lifting, another bank of fog comes in. But for the moment, at least, it's clearing up. Now, to give you a kind of indication of just how bad things were in the channel overnight and early this morning, we've got some new pictures we can show you that was actually taken, a video taken on board a migrant boat by one of the migrants. This is what they do, obviously, as part of the deal with the people smugglers, who then pump out these images as part of the advertising for these illegal crossings. Well, that's at night time, but actually you can see there's also thick fog as well surrounding these migrants, as you can see nothing really in front of them, and that's why it's actually so dangerous trying to cross the English Channel when there is heavy fog like this, because clearly the French authorities will have difficulty in spotting them and seeing them, because what they often do is escort them across to UK waters and across to the point where they're picked up by border force. A daytime shot, the situation had cleared a bit in the channel, so some of those boats were being spotted and then taken across the channel. But clearly, if it's heavy fog like that, you're going across one of the world's busiest shipping lanes, and these big container ships, they can't stop or turn round. They're not even going to see a small migrant boat, so it's really, really dangerous, but still they come. The people smugglers don't care. They push them out, take advantage of the fact that the authorities can't see them to launch from the beaches. And that's what they've done again today, with at least 200, potentially 300 small boat migrants who've made that crossing so far today, taking the figure for the year as a total so far to 23,000.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that. Great work as ever. Bleak news, 23,000 for the year. And also, if you guys at home haven't seen the extraordinary footage Mark White showed us yesterday, and again, we repeated some of it this morning, dinghies in France, boats absolutely packed to the rafters, completely dangerous. Somebody, here we go now. This is yesterday, I believe. It was it Dunkirk?
I mean, if you're listening on radio, there's at least, I'd say, 50 to 100 people running out into the shallow water towards
young
all
men.
men. There's no children or women, of course not. And they're running towards what they're calling the taxi service, which...
Where are the French?
There's literally nobody to be seen helping to or try and stop this. And in fact, what they do is they chuck out some life jackets to them. Which...
Yeah, and bottles of water on the way. There we go, that packed... I mean, is it a dinghy?
It's like one of those banana boats that you go on to... You know, there's ones with the... You could sit on one and there's about 4 people on it. It's like 2 of them next to each other with something in the middle.
Coming to a community near you. But actually, no, let's not talk about it because it's racist.
I don't think it is at all. I think it's perfectly reasonable to be not wanting your shores invaded and then have to pay for all these people when they come to the country, having put absolutely nothing in.
I mean, it's really, really chilling images, actually. You know, I can't underline enough how concerning this is. There's TV cameras there, so where are the French?
They're just running.
Where are the French
They're
authorities?
just running into to the water, to the taxi, which is what they're calling it. And then, of course, we'll pick them up halfway and bring them to the UK. And then, voila, welcome to the UK.
Dear, oh dear. OK, let's try and cheer you up a little bit, shall we? Plenty of time to grab your chance to win our biggest cash prize so far, an incredible £54,321. 54321. Here's all the details you need to win.
We're here at Down Hall in Essex to enjoy the finer things in life, and it's your chance to win £54,321 in cash. It's like having an extra £1,000 in your bank account each week for a whole year, which means that you'd be able to indulge in treats whenever you wanted to. That extra cash each week could send some of those day-to-day financial stresses packing this year to enable you to sit back, relax and do nothing. Make sure you don't miss out on our biggest cash giveaway to date.
For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck indeed. Up next.
Find out about the police...
Yes, find out about the police's latest tool to crack down on knife crime at the annual Notting Hill Carnival.
Yeah, that's going to be a good debate. You're with Britain's Newsroom on GB News.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we are proud to stand for you, for the Britain you love, for the communities you live in. That's what makes us the fearless champions of Britain, its voices and its values. Because we, at GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Welcome back, 11:24. Ben and Nana with you on Britain's Newsroom on GB News.
Joining us now, political commentators Juditha De Silva and Emma Trimble. Good morning. Shall we start with this Notting Hill story? Who wants to go first? Juditha.
Yeah, they're saying this year they're going to reintroduce live facial recognition cameras across the route of the parade.
For the Notting Hill Carnival.
For Notting Hill Carnival. And they say it's an attempt to make the carnival safer because of all the incidents of stabbings that have happened in the recent years. It's something, but on the other side, people are sceptical because there is a propensity for facial recognition to give false positives. In the 2016 and 2017, when they rolled it out the first time, they had 102 cases of false positives, and so they pulled it back. But the head of facial recognition at the Met has said that it wasn't very accurate back then, it's much better now. So my thinking is that Notting Hill Carnival is so wonderful. I've attended a lot, I've covered it as a journalist. If there's anything that makes it safer, go for it, but at least let this be a trial period. So if, again, you have incidents of you ruining the experience for innocent people, it's something that just doesn't work.
It's not very good, though, with darker skin, is it, recognising
Yeah, they're
people?
saying that
That's the problem with it.
That horrible thing of, like, I can't tell black people apart happens with this machinery. So hopefully it is better now.
Surely the debate here, Emma, is whether Notting Hill should be going on in the first place. Let me give you some stats. 2017, 12 stabbings. 2018, 7 stabbings. 2019, 18 stabbings. 2022, 7 stabbings, 1 death. 2023, 10 stabbings. As far as I recall, somebody possibly died last year. I need to check that.
No, they did.
Two people
died.
2 died last year. Great.
A young lady and a chef.
If this was a far-right migration, quote-unquote, protest in Hyde Park, it would be shut down after year 1.
Yeah, I mean, so you mentioned the young woman who was killed. She was stabbed by a zombie knife to death in front of her 3-year-old child. I walked in the Notting Hill Carnival when I was like 6 years old or something, and I remember it being this really sort of family-friendly affair, and I can't believe that it's actually descended into something as violent as this. And like you say, Ben, I mean, why, if they're talking about using facial recognition now, could they not use facial recognition at all of those anti-Israel hate marches where people were holding up anti-Semitic posters and so on?
That's problematic. Like I said, don't associate Notting Hill Carnival with protest.
No.
It's a beautiful thing.
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what
Judith,
that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if they've got this technology, why are they using it here rather than at these sorts of protests? I think, look, the guy the founder of the Public Safety Foundation has said that this is common sense. He's usually very right about most things. I do think that there is an element of common sense here because you do need to be able to police this. The fact that 2 people died last year suggests that, obviously, they're struggling to police it. I would prefer, rather than facial recognition, that actually policing was done properly and effectively, and that they had more police there in order to make it work.
Just shut the thing down.
No, I think
it's
the good thing to make it what the police... No, but it's not...
No. Yeah, but that's irrelevant. Why can't they just move it to, say, Hyde Park? No. I think that's irrelevant because it's the notion of the carnival. Which
No,
is
it's
fine.
the history
you
of
can
the
still
carnival
have
and what it means to the
notion of history,
community.
whatever. But I don't see why
But
you
then
can
the
put... Let me finish. I don't see why you can't put it in an area that can be policed effectively, because that's what the police have been saying. It's not that we don't want them to have the carnival, it's just that we cannot police it effectively.
What the police have said, which is a very important point, it is not Notting Hill Carnival that is the issue attracting stabbings. It's the constitution of what it is. When you have a densely populated area in central London, it makes it very hard to police, and criminals take advantage of that.
So my point is true.
That's what I'm saying. It's like anything happening with that constitution anywhere in any part of London would have the same problem. Yeah, when you have dense... What the problem is why they're using facial recognition. To be able to decipher between that kind of a mass of people is hard.
Do you think if there was a carnival of the same population in, I don't know, the Cotswolds, you'd have a dozen stabbings each year and possibly deaths each year?
If you had exactly the same constitution, densely populated, with enough guys to get away with that kind of crime,
it wouldn't be the answer to move it somewhere where you can stop, because the problem with the police were saying we can't police all the side streets. It's easy for people to run away. Now, I listened to it. I even wrote a piece about it, so I know exactly what they said.
Ben, I think you're right. If this was a carnival for St George's Day that every year turned into violence and resulted in a young mother being stabbed to death in front of her 3-year-old child, I think that the police would close it down. I accept, and like I say, when I was a child, I loved the Notting Hill Carnival. I accept that this is something that, this is part of London's culture, and I think it would be a sad thing to see it go. But I do think, the fact that it has descended into this...
It's a stab fest.
It's not... It is. And
it's a stab fest that costs the police £12 million a year to police.
It's not just
Shut
about
the thing down.
It's not just about the stabbings. It's about the overall antisocial behaviour of people who live in that area, having people urinating and defecating outside of their houses. I mean, this is like absolute barbarism.
But just briefly, what about the time when they were running through the streets with the zombie knives and the police were just like... We had videos of them running through Carnival with the zombie knives. There's about 10 of them.
As the police have said this year, which is why I haven't said don't do it, because I agree with the point, why not put the facial recognition in protest as well as this? So I haven't said don't do it. Do it. Anything you can to make things safer. But what they're saying now is they're going to increase the number of marshals, so moving people quicker can do that, so the police can actually do police work, which is where I agree. Compartmentalise the actual duties that the police have to do so they can be more effective.
I say move it somewhere else, and if that doesn't work, scrap it. Thank you very much, Judita, and I'll say Emma Trimble. Emma, thank you.
Thanks both. Katie Bowen has your 60-second news update.
Good morning. The headlines at 11:31. Sir Keir Starmer said that there are no adequate words to acknowledge the death of a child after the fatal school coach crash in Minehead. A child died and 21 others have been taken to hospital following the collision between Wedden Cross and Timbercombe yesterday afternoon. Diane Abbott says that Labour leadership wants me out, and that her comments in a BBC interview released this week were factually correct after she was suspended from the Labour Party for a second time. More than 23,000 small boat migrants have crossed the Channel this year, as hundreds more make the crossing this morning. The number who have crossed so far this year is up more than 55% on the same period last year. The number of the most serious water pollution incidents rose by 60% last year. That's according to the Environment Agency. The data, which covers England, found that 3 companies, Thames Water, Southern Water and Yorkshire Water, are responsible for more than 80% of the incidents. And former Defence Secretary Sir Grant Shapps says he'd make the same call again in a heartbeat when it comes to the Afghan data leak, saying Afghans who helped Britain risk execution and British special forces were exposed. Those are the latest headlines for now. More news at the top of the hour.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Up at noon is Good Afternoon Britain with Tom and Emily. Good morning, you two. What's coming up on the show?
Good morning. Well, we're going to continue with the Afghan fallout. Certainly, I've heard you talking about how lawyers are going to be using the ECHR, the European Convention on Human Rights, to bring more people into this country. But it's very interesting to look at the law firms that are involved in all of this and how they're pushing for more and more clients, because I imagine, not just out of the kindness of their hearts, they're making a huge cut from this if they do get the compensation. I mean, 50 grand per claimant, if that happens, we're going to be even more bankrupt as a country, aren't we?
It does really take the biscuit, doesn't it? You know, you bring someone over from a country that has descended into squalor with a terror group running it, and you bring them over to the United Kingdom, give them free housing, free healthcare, free education, in some cases free mobile phones, free food, and then that's not enough for some of them. That entire privilege of living in the United Kingdom, with all of the benefits that affords, and of course, let's not forget the old age benefits as well, the pensions as time goes by, the incredible expense that will pay on that.
Oh, gosh.
It's not just that. They also want compensation on top of it.
But it's these lawyers pushing for it, trying to find these clients who may not even have an idea that they have access to this type of compensation if they do. We're also going to be talking to a local in Epping, a local councillor who has a lot to say about what happened overnight with these protests outside the Epping hotel that seemed to end in quite a big clash, didn't they? So we're getting an update on that. What are they going to do about it locally?
Yeah. So really, hopefully you got some footage, some feisty scenes last night, police vans being kicked. I think one lad was jumping on a police van and kicking the window in. Tensions running high.
It always happens in the summer, doesn't it?
Yeah, everyone gets a little bit hot.
Everyone gets hot and bothered. And I think sometimes people take things just far too far because they've got nothing better to do and it's sunny. I mean, if it was raining...
It wasn't a responsible incident.
It might be because there's so many migrants coming over more so in the
but you don't need to attack the police.
Yeah.
I think that is absolutely where the line...
Yeah, but the protesters who came out peacefully initially...
They were there for a reason.
They were there for a reason. They weren't there just to have a jolly.
No, but it always descends. Whenever you have all of these... At this time of year, it always descends. It gets to a certain point in the evening and then they have a go at the police. Yeah. And it's not on.
Yeah, but then, of course, you did have the anti-fascists coming in as well and shaking things up, to say the least.
Yeah, Antifa were down there.
All right. Well, listen, we look forward
to your
show. Sounds like fun. All of that at midday.
Some breaking news about Donald Trump's visit to Scotland next week. More on that after the break. There he is. Oh, no, where is this? That's Trump live. Is that live now? I think it's not live. There he is. He's there anyway. There's the president wearing his MAGA hat, looking good in a baseball cap. He's also, if you weren't aware, he's also been receiving some treatment for swollen ankles.
Yeah.
Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, was detailing that last night. More on that and his visit to Scotland next week in just a tick.
This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News.
Hi there and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. It's certainly very warm and humid out there. Cloudy for many of us, yes, but where the sun shines, especially towards the east and the southeast, it's going to be a hot day. And then as that heat and humidity builds through the day, with low pressure moving into the northwest, we're likely to see some very lively thunderstorms developing in places later on. But for the time being, it's scattered moderate to heavy showers we're expecting across western Scotland and Northern Ireland, some bright spells in between, and a weather front moving into the east of Scotland as well as northwest England and through parts of Wales and the southwest will bring a lot of cloud and some spots of rain. But ahead of that front, we've got the heat and humidity building, 30 to 32 Celsius from London to the Wash, and the sunshine feeling very hot indeed during the rest of the afternoon, but that helping to spark some very lively showers anywhere from Lincolnshire to Yorkshire and the far northeast of England. Frequent lightning, large rainfall totals in a short space of time, as well as large hail. And that could cause disruption. But the showers across Scotland and Northern Ireland at this stage, not quite as lively, and they'll be interspersed by some sunny spells. Certainly a bright end of the day for Western England and Wales as the cloud thins. But we're watching this development overnight as it moves up from northern France. This is an area of very active thunderstorms that is likely to bring frequent lightning, hail, and Very large rainfall totals in less than 3 hours, the potential for 90 millimetres, and of course hitting a populated part of the UK could cause significant impacts. So that's the main feature to watch overnight. Elsewhere across the UK, it's a muggy night wherever you are, with temperatures holding up in the mid to high teens. And then as we start off the weekend, that area of thundery rain moves into northern England, southern and eastern Scotland, followed by further thunderstorms and heavy showers. It turns breezy in the southwest, but it's a little cooler across the board.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Backtracking. Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom on GB News with Ben Leo and Nana Akweer.
Right, we have some breaking news regarding Donald Trump's visit to Scotland next week. Our royal correspondent Cameron Walker joins us now. What's the breaking?
Well, I've been told by royal sources that King Charles will not be meeting President Trump when he is here in Scotland, as you said, between the 25th and the 29th of July. He's visiting his Trump-Turnberry golf course, about an hour's drive from Balmoral Castle. A meeting not happening. I'm being told this was mutually agreed by both Buckingham Palace and the White House. Diary clashes is what I'm being told as to the reason why. But if you remember back to when Sir Keir Starmer was in the Oval Office with President Trump, where he gave the letter to the President inviting him for a state visit, the letter said, or suggested, this is King Charles's writing, that the two should meet in Scotland at Balmoral to discuss and plan the full-on state visit. So that is, it appears, no longer happening in terms of a face-to-face meeting between the President and the monarch. I'm sure staff members at Buckingham Palace and the White House are obviously talking. And it's been agreed that it's best practice for the President and the King to just meet in person during the state visit in September at Windsor Castle. So that's what's going to be happening.
Still going to be happening.
That's still happening. No plans have changed from the state visit, but in terms of an official meeting when he's here in Scotland, not happening.
See, before you gave that caveat of a line saying in the document he handed over in the Oval Office they were going to meet for a pre-meeting, I would have said, well, that's OK, because he's coming for a state visit in September in 2 months anyway. But interesting that, though, there was that little caveat. Also, Balmoral is in Aberdeen, right? It's near Aberdeen, where Donald Trump will be there.
Yeah, so he's at Trump-Turnberry, his golf course. As I said, it's about an hour's drive from Balmoral Castle, so logistically it's not that far, but diary clashes mean that can no longer happen. But in terms of the state visit, full-on state visit that's happening in September, there's been no change to those plans. President Trump will be in Windsor Castle for the state visit with the King.
I kind of like that, actually, because it makes more... It's like when you do two things. If you just do one, everyone focuses on the one. But if you do two things, it kind of dilutes it. So as long as they're happy, I'm happy.
I think President Trump is still going to meet Keir Starmer and John Swinney of the SNP, though, when he's in Scotland next week.
Lucky him.
Very lucky.
Cameron Walker.
Cameron.
Thank you. Right, moving on, we are joined by the founder of Save the Asian Elephant, Duncan McNair, to tell us more about the campaign. Now, Duncan, we spoke, you've been on my show, talked about how you're trying to protect the elephants from tourism, in a sense, and how you're trying to protect other species from being treated very badly. And you had a kind of win, didn't you? Because, of course, the House of Lords passed something so that this would mean that the government would then put it into law, that this would go forward. What has happened since then?
OK, well, it's a very, very worrying and precarious story now. As you say, new law was passed 2 years ago, which throws a lifeline to numerous endangered endangered species across the world who are hideously abused in modern tourism. So much of that tourism is generated in the UK market. We've identified 1,200 companies advertising 300 brutal elephant venues alone, where baby elephants are beaten and stabbed, broken, as they say, to break their spirits for easy use in tourism. And many, many humans are catastrophically injured and killed. Now, supposed regulation by the travel industry has been hopeless, mainly because it's never really been attempted with any seriousness. So my organisation, Save the Asian Elephants, resolved years ago the compulsion of law was needed. We pushed a campaign, got massive public support, and the law passed with great Labour support when Labour was in opposition. All the relevant shadow ministers, who are now actual ministers, gave ringing endorsements and promised to get on with implementing this legislation when it was passed, when they came to government. What's happened in the 2 years since? Answer: almost nothing, other than many more animals and people being killed. And we're talking about numerous endangered species: monkeys, big cats, dolphins, and so on.
Can you name the ministers?
Yep, the ministers are, well, the Secretary of State is Steve Reed at DEFRA.
Yep. And
the Parliamentary Undersecretary with responsibility for animals is Baroness Heyman of Ulloch.
And they're not here to defend themselves, though, and we do have a statement.
But it's on the record. We've got records from Hansard and everywhere else of precisely what they've said. Now, they promised and promised, and indeed we've got a massive new survey in the last few days that shows overwhelming public support, crashing belief in the authenticity of government with respect, I'm afraid, to these matters. And there's been a dramatic and worrying sea change by the government in the last 2 years. The King passed this law with royal assent within 2 hours of the Lord's final debate. The government, successively, has taken 2 years to do apparently nothing. What they're now talking about, a sort of diametric new position, is an industry-led, non-legislative outcome. Well, what on earth does that mean? I think we know. It's going to throw the whole issue back in the lap of that end of the travel industry, the unscrupulous end, which is the very reason, their conduct, why we need law in the first place. So that's not good enough.
But it's already in law now.
It's in law.
And they're not talking about scrapping that law.
Well, who knows? I mean, what they're talking about, they're not talking about, but the implication is they're ignoring the law. What the Secretary of State's got to do, is quite normal, is introduce secondary legislation. He puts a statutory instrument before both houses with a list of all the horrible activities to animals that should be the subject of this ban against advertising. In the UK, of activities abroad. That's all he's got to do. My organisation has provided him with the support of hundreds of other groups, with all the evidence they need. The activities we say are pernicious and brutal, and that so often result in the death of humans. And here, look, is an anchus or bullhook. I'd like all your viewers to see this. When I bought this in India, it's a working anchus. It was covered in the blood of baby elephants. It's used to tear and rip, pull out eyes, smash legs, rip the sides of animals. What the difference between the Secretary of State and myself is that I've seen baby elephants stabbed and beaten, screaming and crying in front of their mothers. That's the difference. And it happens to so many other creatures. So we're due to meet the Secretary, after a long delay of 9 months when they said their diaries are too busy, during which they've been having lots of meetings with the travel industry. We're due to meet them on the 31st of July. I hope this doesn't cause them to cancel the meeting. Will that meeting be a whitewash? Will they be administering the last rites to this critical act that will save potentially hundreds of thousands of animals and thousands of humans? Yeah. Or will they do what they've always promised?
Duncan, can I ask, did you vote Labour because you thought, I mean, you don't have to say, but did you vote Labour, and if so, was it because you thought they'd act on this issue, which is very close to your heart?
Well, I mean, I'm not party political, so I've tried everything in the past. Yeah. But millions of people, I'm sure, will have voted Labour, who are saying throughout, we got elected on the manifesto of animal welfare.
Sure.
So many people, can I tell you something, Ben? Yeah. If I sell you a tin of baked beans and they turn out to be peas, you can sue me. If I sell you my car as a nice little runner and it breaks down at the end of the road, you can sue me. When the government give you this policy and it affects so much of the world, and they just withdraw afterwards.
And we see it so many times over with Red, Blue, Tories, Labour, whoever. The amount of manifesto promises over the decades in this country.
Absolutely.
Where can people find out more, Duncan?
Right, well, they can go to our website, stae.org. There is a ready-made letter to the Secretary of State and to their MP, which we ask them to send. Never participate in any tourist activity that involves direct contact with animals.
All right, thank you. Duncan, so it's savetheasianelephant.org.
stae.org, yes.
Thank you, Duncan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm thinking about that analogy with the tins. I think the Labour government, it was like a white label tin. You didn't know what was in it.
Bit of a gamble. A DEFRA spokesman has said this government was elected on a mandate to introduce the most ambitious plans to improve animal welfare in a generation. That's exactly what we'll do.
All right, well, we'll keep them to that. Make sure you do, Duncan. Right, still more to come on the show. Do not go anywhere. This is Britain's Newsroom on GB News.
You're looking happy.
Well, the forecast looks good.
So you've sorted the travel insurance then?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Lots of blue skies and strong hot sunshine around the Mediterranean at the moment. There's going to be a bit of a breeze blowing, however, this weekend, especially for Crete and Cyprus. Maybe 1 or 2 showers inland across Turkey, but again, most of the coast's dry and sunny. Same goes for Italy and much of southern Spain, along with the Balearics and the Canaries. Also set fair. Temperatures in Tenerife close to 30 Celsius. We'll have highs here of 29 for the next few days and similar temperatures in Barcelona.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie's here.
I'm Michelle Dewberry. Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection. Tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel. At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday Five.
You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored. Very, very racist tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Good morning. A Labour activist given an MBE for services to integration and cohesion demanded that Muslims in Rotherham who refused to boycott the police following the town's grooming scandal should themselves be boycotted by the Muslim community.
New footage of Mobeen Hussain, obtained by GB News, shows him making a fiery speech launching the boycott to a cheering crowd made up almost entirely of men.
GB News' national reporter Charlie Peters has more. What can you tell us?
Well, when Mobeen Hussain called for this boycott in 2015, Rotherham was a tense and very much a disgruntled town, split in many ways, rocked by that grooming scandal which had emerged in the previous year through that official report by Alexis J, and also a perceived surge in hate crimes following demonstrations against the gangs, but also the more broad Muslim community. Well, Mobeen Hussain called for that boycott soon after also the murder of an 81-year-old man because, but at the time, he told the BBC that the cause for the boycott, first and foremost, he said, was that the police had pushed a pernicious lie that it had not acted on grooming allegations because of fears of being called racist. Now, Hussain's group, British Muslim Youth, also said that this was used to scapegoat Muslims by the police to cover for their failures, in effect. Now, South Yorkshire Police has not blamed a fear of being racist for the failure to properly investigate grooming gangs in Rotherham. The independent reports that we've seen over the years have cited many unacceptable reasons for the failure, and the force has accepted those allegations, but it's never said that racism was part of that reason. So in a statement released last week under the heading "Enough of the Lies," Mobeen Hussain claimed that this boycott had absolutely nothing to do with grooming gangs, which is in contrary to what he said in 2015 on the BBC. We can now reveal footage of the moment when Hussain called for that boycott, where he went further and called for individuals to be boycotted.
If anybody from the Muslim community does not bring in this policy, we boycott them too. Any Muslim organisation, let's make it better, any Muslim individual or institution in Rotherham that do not adhere to this policy of disengagement will also be boycotted by the Muslim community. We call upon that.
As you can see there, a fiery speech being delivered to a room almost entirely of men who voted to bring in that policy of disengagement, of boycotting the police, and also there boycotting communities, organisations, and also, as you've just heard, Muslim individuals who did not agree with this policy. Now, 2 days later, that boycott was called off after cooler heads prevailed. Hussain said that the boycott was due to the incompetent engagement policy used by South Yorkshire Police. His representatives have claimed to us that he had later clarified that the boycott was only targeting organisations and not individuals, as he had earlier said. But I cannot find evidence for that claim. It's not known who nominated Hussain for this MBE, but many have been calling that into question now after this footage. Robert Jenrick said last night that Hussain had been caught red-handed calling for a Muslim boycott of the police in Rotherham. Well, in a statement from Mr Hussain, he said that the peaceful boycott in 2015 related to a specific issue between the police and the Muslim community in the wake of a brutal murder. My record in countering extremism and terrorism from the age of 14, which has included speaking out unequivocally against grooming gangs, including those who are men of Pakistani origin, leading the first demonstration against such criminals and working to break barriers between intrafaith and interfaith communities, speaks for itself. I have a distinguished track record in building bridges for communities, and I was delighted and honoured to be offered an MBE in the forthcoming King's Birthday Honours in recognition of this work. I look forward to continuing to work on community cohesion and interfaith understanding going forward. That is a statement there from Mobeen Hussain after we reveal that footage of him in 2015 calling for individual Muslims to be boycotted over his policy.
Great stuff. And just to clarify, an MBE for services to integration and cohesion. for that chat. Thank you, Charlie Peters. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you for your company today on Britain's Newsroom. I'm back tomorrow from 9 p.m. with Ben Leo tonight.
And I'm back tonight with Jubes & Co at 6, and then back on Sunday, because Saturday is my birthday. So,
birthday to you.
Thank you. Up next, though, Good Afternoon Britain with Tom and Emily. You won't want to miss it.
Imagine having an extra £1,000 to spend each week for an entire year. £54,321 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to spend however you like. £54,321 in cash could be landing in your bank account this year. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about